Hi guys, very good morning from India. This is Vishnu Prasad Yadinapudi here. Today, as part of video live demos and other tutorials, we'll be starting off with Node.js Ultimate Beginner Guide. When I say it's an Ultimate Beginner Guide, I really mean it. Why I really mean it? It's because I've put it there. Probably there are millions of videos up on the YouTube, Coursera, and other free course websites, and there are millions of articles out there on Node.js that say that they teach you right from the beginning. But trust me, anyone who would have put their hands on this activity, got their hands dirty, felt the real mud, felt the real smell of how tough it is to learn Node.js and building applications using Node.js would definitely say that it's worth trying all those millions of hour of videos on there and spending hours of your valuable time and all the productivity out there. But I somehow felt that because I've taken the hard road, it doesn't mean that everyone has to take it. At least in terms of learning a technology, because probably gaining experience, or if you're building a startup or something else, probably that would make sense because at least to understand how tough it was or how hard it was to get on things. But we are not here to talk about hard things about the hard things by Ben Horowitz. We are here to talk about Node.js and how better we can make and learn Node.js applications and make better applications right away. I don't want you to spend all those hours sitting at your desk watching those videos on YouTube and people talking repeatedly on all those silly points and not coming to the real Node.js application. And one more point to note here is that I'm not going to take all the Node.js sessions in one stretch. That it means this session is divided into multiple videos, and we'll take one after the other, and all these sessions will be up with parts available to you, like part one, part two, part three. This is an introduction video, guys. So please bear with me for a few minutes to handle all the theoretical concepts before we jump right into the code. Once I show you a couple of slides, then I'll set you the tone and the context on what we'll be building and using the Node.js applications. Thank you so much. We'll jump right into the tutorials. I'll show you my screen. There you go. The whole session is called Ultimate Node.js Beginner Tutorial. And what's Node.js? I know this has been the first question that everyone puts you across and everyone wants to answer it. But before we jump in, why is this session so important for me? Or is it, I mean, if you have to ask yourself, is this session, one more session on the YouTube so important for me by Prasad? Then yes, please keep a track on this. It's probably hardly 10 minutes of video session that I'll do it. If you don't like it, you can skip the rest of this tutorial, but I'm sure I'll keep you engaged and pretty much into the knowledge of Node.js and science there. So coming back to the question, what's Node.js? I mean, Node.js is it's not a new language on itself. It's built. It's a framework that you build. It's like the framework that you define or customize in your applications. It's a framework that's defined and built on top of JavaScript to make your JavaScript knowledge used at the server side and run and build applications and run them on the server side. It's and how Node.js is built. Node.js is built on JavaScript, on Google Chrome, V8 engine, and it's known to be the fastest JavaScript engine till date. And coming to the other simple statements that we have been made about Node.js, it's single-threaded. It does all the operations by default and asynchronous. It doesn't mean that you cannot do synchronous operations, but it means that you do all your operations by default in asynchronous mode. All your IO operations, when they are done in a synchronous mode, it gives you an advantage. We'll discuss more in depth of it in the coming tutorials. And all the IO operations that are done in Node.js are purely non-blocking. It means no single operation will block the other incoming or the other ongoing or the other received messages. And when Node.js, what it helps us is not just building websites, it is primarily used across the industry to build REST APIs. The most famous people who have built REST APIs using Node.js, they have done a complete overhaul of their server-side scripting, and their server-side APIs is are eBay to name it, LinkedIn to name it. Then we have PayPal, the biggest online transactions are done using PayPal across the continents, across the web, and they have built complete REST APIs of their application using Node.js. And if I have to be made a statement, then I'll say that having seen web services or WCF services, REST APIs using Node.js is completely and utterly easy. Few people would say that WCF is SOAP-based services, then why do you want to call it REST API? Having said WCF is a SOAP-based services, we can build REST APIs using WCF. That facility is given to us using by the Microsoft, but that's pretty tough, pretty tiring as well. And coming to the ASP.NET Web API, we'll not discuss in depth about it because it's purely for Node. But having REST APIs built using ASP.NET Web API is in a different environment totally. It's like you're standing in two different hemispheres and talking about things. So what's Node.js? Again, the same thing, single-threaded I/O operations. Probably I would have copied the same slide again. And yes, there's a big question that's been making a buzz around you and has been sitting on your head and in the brain. And it's this question: how Node.js is fast if it is single-threaded? Oh no, single-threaded. Did I say single-threaded? Yes, single-threaded. And how does it do the non-blocking I/O operations, asynchronous I/O operations as such, out of box? Most people tend to believe that because most of the applications out there in the world currently are, probably when Node.js was not there, when it started beginning in 2009, most of the applications are so that you get a thread pool, every application that comes in, every request that comes in is assigned a separate thread, probably in Java, in .NET world, wherever it is assigned it's assigned a thread on its own, and all the operations in that application for that application are done using that single thread. Once all the threads that the application that the OS can assign to the incoming requests get expired, you have no other option than to wait, or your application gets crashed. That's it. There is no other alternative. Then how does the single-threaded Node.js is doing so much of wonders? Then it's because it has multiple libraries based on C++, and they are doing the job under the hood for Node.js, and they are called as libev, libuv, libio, that make this work for the Node.js. We won't discuss in depth about C++ libraries, but I'll make sure in coming articles I'll give you a step-by-step understanding of this, because I'm also learning more about C++ these days, because I started as a C# developer, and I'm right now building Node.js applications in one of my projects for the company that I work for right now. And libuv is a module from C++ that makes all your Node.js do all the talking in asynchronous I/O operations. That's what I can say right now. But once we start working on the code and get deep into the Node.js application building process, we'll discuss about this point a little more. And this is there was one of the sessions that I had to give in my previous presentation, and this is what I did in a plain MS Paint. So if you can see, your Node.js application is what that you'll be building. If I say that this is my Node.js application, then it is supported by the Node.js libraries, and this is the OS operations that are being handled. And this is the Google's Chrome V8 engine. That's the JavaScript engine that's the Node.js is using. These are the libraries built on top of C++. Don't worry about this arrow because I couldn't do it in MS Paint like top to bottom. I did it from here in a hurry. This is libuv, libev, and libio libraries that are part of C++ libraries that are helping Node.js do its job of asynchronous I/O operations and all that. Sounds a little familiar. Right? If you are a C#, if you are a .NET developer, probably you would be looking at it as this is your .NET application. Then you have your CLR, that CLR. Then you have your intermediate language, MSIL, and you have your CTS, common type system. Then you have your actual .NET engine sitting here. Then you have your OS below that. You have like 5-6 layers there. It's probably 3 layers here. And coming to the event processing, Node.js processing model. If this is your client that you're building, that's sending you multiple HTTP requests. It's not just one client. You can put like hundreds of clients over here who is sending multiple requests to your Node.js server. So once they hit your Node.js server, this event loop, that's a single threaded event loop that's running, will make sure that all the requests that get in are not blocked or not waiting for you. They pick them up and they put it in this non-blocking IO worker that's handled by the C++ thread pool. It's the internal C++ thread pool that's doing your job. This event loop, if I let's talk a little about event loop. Event loop is like this. You get a request. The event loop will say, okay, fine, I've received a request. Let me keep it with me. I have a pool wherein I maintain all my event loops. So all the events that come in are put into this event loop, and whenever it sees that your JavaScript engine is free and your C++ thing is free, it moves one after the other, all the events, I mean all the requests to it. And it's the same with the responses. Okay, I have a response, yes. I'll put all these responses into the event loop. Okay, is it free that I can push this responses in my application? Is my application ready to receive this response? Yes. Then pull it from the event loop and put it back into the into the queue for the application to consume it. Probably this would sound very dry for you because I have heard about hundreds of videos that said the same thing, but I promise you that in the next video I will explain you the event loop in complete diagram and in complete code that will make sense, and you don't have to write it in multiple. I mean, you don't have to write it in a rich IDEs, or you don't have to write in rich applications, building applications. You can just write it in your Notepad or the Firefox Scratchpad. I'll give you a demo using this Firefox Scratchpad in the next session. Please bear with me until then. And that's it, guys. In the next session, we'll look into the Node.js building. In the upcoming tutorials, our target is to build Node.js REST APIs. REST APIs using Node.js is our primary aim of this. Thank you so much, and thanks for listening to my video. Do subscribe, click the subscribe button, do share it if you like it. I mean, it would sound a little dry here because it's just a theoretical one, but once we start building our technical code, it will be, I promise you, it will be very interesting and very fascinating journey that we'll have together as a team. Thank you so much for joining once again. See you all.